Welcome to Techstination. Joining us is Sarah Gelman, Director of Amazon Books Editorial. Thank you for joining us, Sarah.
Thanks for having me.
Well, exciting time. I get midway through the year, and you have your picks for the best books of 2020 / so far. Tell us about it.
We do. I think, 2020 has been a good year for books, if for nothing else. So that's the good news. And we, meaning the Amazon Book Editors, who is a team of readers at Amazon that basically we're just reading hundreds of books a year, all in the name of picking our favorite books for customers. And every year we put out a best books of the year so far list, and then at the very end of the year, a best books of the year list. So we just released our best books of the so far list. It just came out a couple days ago, and we named the book The Girl with the Louding Voice by Abby Dare our #1 book of the year.
Tell us a little bit about that book.
Oh, it's such a good book. It's actually a debut novel, and it's about a 14-year-old Nigerian girl who is basically sold into enslavement by her father after her mother, who really believes in education, passes away. And it takes place in modern-day Nigeria, which I have to admit is not a place I know a lot about. But she's sold into basically slavery, into marriage and then slavery. And even though her situation is really dire and it sounds hopeless, this book is so hopeful. And she is just such an amazing narrator, and that she never gives up hope. She just has so much fortitude in this really hard time. And I feel like the message of hope and also just having that pluck really felt extra poignant this year. So we just love this book. It's a new talent and one that we're really excited about.
And we should point out this is a novel, even though it sounds like it may read like a true story.
It is a novel, yes. And so, we look at our top 10 and our top 20 books and really try to have a mix of every kind of book on those lists. So a little something for everyone, and books also that really kind of go beyond the genre. So we have books that are nonfiction, books that are commercial fiction, thrillers. It was really a little bit of something for everyone.
Tell us about some of the others that made the top 20. It's a long list with many categories here. But
it is.
Give us more of a taste here.
I can tell you at least about, I'll tell you about some of my favorites in the top 10 if you'd like. Book number 2, and they are ranked in order of what we think are the actual best. So book number 2 is this really interesting book called Hidden Valley Road. It's by an author named Robert Kolker. Now, this is a true story, and I feel like the story is too odd to be fiction. So it's about a family, an American family called the Galvins, and they have 12 children, 6 of whom were diagnosed with schizophrenia while they were still teenagers. So it's a narrative nonfiction book that looks at the effects of mental illness on this truly incredible family. I mean, just the fact they have 12 kids is incredible. But it also details the history and science behind this disease and talks about really how important this family was to what we've discovered about schizophrenia over the years. It's really, again, if it weren't true, you wouldn't believe it. Number 3 book is by an author that a lot of people know named Suzanne Collins. So most people know her for the Hunger Games trilogy, which was really popular books and also turned into movies. And this is actually her newest book is called The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes. And it is a prequel to the trilogy. So it takes place decades before the Hunger Games opens and has a familiar character to people that know that, President Snow, as an 18-year-old boy. So this is definitely for fans of the Hunger Games series. It's fantasy, it's exciting, it's sort of the perfect summer read. And Collins really surprised her fans with this. So that was another thing about it that was pretty exciting for us. Another book I absolutely loved on the list is, I'm not skipping number 3 because I didn't love it. It's Deacon King Kong by James McBride. It's also a great novel that takes place in the 1960s. But there's this book called Pretty Things by Janelle Brown, there's this new genre that's sort of like a psychological thriller in the vein of Gone Girl or Girl on the Train. And if people like those books, they will love this book, Pretty Things. I read it in, I think, probably 36 hours. I could not put it down. It's just such a fun, twisty book. It's like you're reading and all of a sudden it changes and you're like, what happened? So if you're a reader that likes books like that, that's definitely one of my favorites. So those are just a couple favorites on we have a top 20 list. And then we also have different category lists. So we have books, we have children's books, and they're in all age groups. So 0 to 2 on up to young adult, mysteries and thrillers. We have cookbooks, food and wine. There really is a little something for everyone here.
Very helpful, because so many people are thinking to themselves, I got to turn the TV off. What do I read now? or looking for the kids.
Exactly.
What's the best thing to read?
Yeah.
Is there evidence that you can quantify at all? Are people reading much more?
I think I don't have exact evidence, I should say, but I think anecdotally people are turning towards books, both to educate, to entertain. I think this has been a year where a lot of people are looking for answers, and so books can give us answers, but they can also distract you. I'm someone that loves to read fiction, and I feel like I'm getting a lot of nonfiction in the news these days, and so I like to distract myself, but I'm also the mother to 2 young boys, and so I want to look to books to help explain to them what's happening in our world today, whether that's global pandemic or racial issues. And so I look to a lot of our lists for books like that.
Terrific. Where can people go to learn more about the list?
All of it is at amazon.com/bestbooks.so-far.
Terrific. Sarah Gelman, thank you so much for taking the time with us, and stay healthy.
Thank you so much. Nice to talk to you.
Now this. How many companies out there have continued to innovate when it comes to building a better radio? I'm Fred Fishkin, host of Techstination, and I'm here to tell you about the new CC Skywave SSB radio from the wonderful people at C. Crane. Bob and his crew really love radio, and it shows in this new compact model that is packed with features. Beyond great AM and FM reception and sound, you can tune into shortwave signals from around the world, listen to ham radio operators, aviation, and more. It's the radio you'll turn to every day, and in emergencies. It will run for nearly 3 days on just 2 AA batteries. Pair the sleep timer with the new Soft Speaker 3, and you've got the perfect radio for your nightstand. Of course, it can wake you up too. Click on C. Crane at Techstination.com and put in the code Techstination for a free flashlight with your order. They love radio, and you'll love C. Crane.